When starting out in Jiu Jitsu, a lot of people may not give much thought to their gi. As time goes on and you continue to train, you may start to collect an array of gis as you start to really understand what you like and what you don't like in a gi as you're grappling. This will open you up to a vast array of brands and price ranges. When I started BJJ 12 years ago, you only had a handful of brands that you could go to. With that being the case, gis were very expensive. I think my first gi was $200. Now everyone's making a gi, even brands like Adidas. With so many options, how do you choose a good gi at a fair price? Well, like with all things, you start with Google. But when you Google affordable gis, or affordable BJJ gis specifically, you're going to get hit with all the more notable brands first. And with them being more high-end, that price is going to be much higher than you're probably willing to spend, especially if you're starting out. If you're like me, I generally check Amazon for most of my needs first. When you search BJJ gi on Amazon, a lot of options come up, but your top four as far as price are gonna be Elite Sports, Hawk Jiu Jitsu, and Sanibel. Now, I don't recommend anything that Hawk makes because I've seen their products break down too often. Elite Sports is next, but they seem to be very controversial at this time. But I have done a video on Elite Sports, and the gi was perfectly fine. Wouldn't say it was great, but it was perfectly fine. So that takes me over to Sanibel, because the gold BJJ gi, and then the other gis like Venom and whatnot, and anything that goes a bit higher goes a bit higher. It's going to be over $100 or over $80. That brings us to the Sanibel Essentials V2 Ultra Light gi for $65 on Amazon. I remember when I first started seeing Sanibel gis 5 years or more ago. When they first came out, I remember them being super affordable. Probably the cheapest gi. Actually, they were the cheapest gi. They used to sell for $45. And so you always saw like the new students wearing them, and you started to see that more and more. Because of that, I kind of viewed it as just an affordable, maybe entry-level gi. I was almost kind of snobbish about it. I was happy to see some very affordable gis enter the market, but I couldn't trust that price point. I just couldn't imagine them not feeling or being cheaply made. Still, I was hesitant, and I was buying more, other brands of gis that I had worn for years, like Scramble and Tatami and stuff like that. Just not fully believing that I would really like this very cheap, again, cheap, not cheaply made, but cheap as far as price, a gi. Finally, I was sent a gi from Elite Sports, and I did a full video review on that gi. But then I became curious, okay, I guess these cheap gis can be really good. In the meantime, more and more students kept showing up in these gis. They just seemed to be the gi to purchase. I mean, they were extremely affordable. They had a very simple but streamlined design and a strong assortment of colors. By the time I really started to consider the Sanibel gi, the price did go up, but not by much. Over time, they came up to about $65, which is still really affordable. Finally, I decided to pull the trigger and get one of these gis. I didn't need a gi, but I figured it was time to do an acid test, really put it through the ringer and see if the quality was there, and then just do a video for you guys. Right off the bat, when ordering the Sanibel gi, you have to note that they have the old school basic sizes, A1, A2, A3, A4. They are not doing those new sizes that you're seeing, which are like A3L, which is what I actually wear. That's the one that fits perfectly. So without having that option, I had to go up to an A4, which I haven't purchased an A4 since like 2014. A3L just is a good fit, as opposed to an A4, which It fits, but then it ends up often being a bit baggy. Speaking of baggy, the gis do run a bit big. These are not athletic, slim fit kind of gis. Sometimes you're seeing these gis now that are a bit more slimming. They're cut, trimmed in a little bit. They're not cut like a square, or excuse me, a rectangle like the old gis were. I do miss that cut of BJJ gi because it made it very easy to get a hold of material. Now I can barely grip onto a piece of someone's gi without pinching them. When I first put on the pants, I could not believe how big they were. But this is where the design of these gis is impressive. So I put the pants on and they were super big, but they have plenty of loops for your drawstring. And once I pulled the drawstring around and pulled it tight, they cinched up perfectly. I mean, this was probably one of the most perfect fits around my waist when initially it looked like double the size of my waist. So their drawstring design for their pants is top tier. Of course, I put the gi on and the top was a bit baggy. Again, this just isn't the regular fit for me anymore. But of course, I figured I might be able to shrink it, even though it is sold and advertised as a pre-shrunk gi. Always remember, and it also says in the description, that it is a pre-shrunk gi, but to keep the size, you have to wash it and hang it. You gotta hang dry it. You throw any gi in the dryer, you're gonna get some shrinkage. So that's good and bad. If you don't wanna shrink it, you might shrink it, but if you do wanna shrink it, then you throw it in the dryer. So I did dry it the first time I washed it. I'm gonna throw it in the dryer maybe one more time, and I think I'll get the size that I'm looking for. So the quality of the material, the quality of the stitching so far, this is an impressive gi. It's sturdy, it fits nicely. Now that I've got it where I want it, and I'm telling you, it's actually very well made. I'm very impressed. What I'm mostly impressed with is that it feels very light. Again, in the description, it's described as an ultra light gi. And you know, it seems like everyone's putting that on title. Light gi, ultra light gi in the description of their gis. But this truly does feel light, and it doesn't just feel light, it feels soft and light. Now, only time will tell as I continue to wear it if it keeps that softness, or over time as I hang dry it and whatnot, if it'll get stiff. So, final thoughts, guys. Whether you are brand new to BJJ or you are a black belt, these Sandoval gis are legit. They are comfortable. They are well priced. They have a very simplistic but cool design. Again, great colors to choose from. It's all around. It's a good gi at a great price. I'll say it's a great gi at a great price. So if you're looking at them, or if you've been considering them, and obviously you watched this video for that reason, I think you should check them out. Okay guys, thank you for watching the video. As always, keep fighting for fit, no excuses, and I'll see you in the next video.